Nice to see you. Yoga Nidra is often referred to as sleep. But Yoga Nidra is actually the capacity for a person to hold two states of consciousness at the same time. A state of alertness, as well as a state of deep relaxation. Usually we are really good at doing one or the other. We're really good at either completely relaxing and spacing out, or we're often really good at doing tasks, staying active. But in Yoga Nidra, we're asked to hold these two states simultaneously. So this weekend, it's been a wonderful time for the students to practice, to get out of theory about how things are done when one does Yoga Nidra. They're actually practicing Yoga Nidra techniques. Gurudev in the talk tonight spoke about Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which is basically keeping the mind steady. And that's what we're doing. We're training the mind in Yoga Nidra. Thank you. We're training the mind. We find Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras are commentaries translated by a number of different people, but my favorite is by Sri Swami Satchidananda. And he talks about keeping the mind steady, watching how the mind can stay out of waves of thought. Also in also in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, there is a stanza that describes Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha Bhavana is intentionally replacing a negative thought with a positive thought. We do that also in Yoga Nidra. There are many other things that we do in Yoga Nidra, but there's a third one that I'd like to mention, and that is also in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Ishvara Pranidhanam, which is surrender. In order to receive the information, the state of consciousness that's developed in Yoga Nidra, there needs to be an element of surrender or release outside of what we think about things. So, that's a lot of talk, but I'd like to give you an experience. I'd like to ask you if you've had any Yoga Nidra experience or any deep relaxation experience to please suspend your past for this few minutes that we enjoy this experience. Just because you've done something before doesn't mean that you will have the same experience again. We come to each moment fresh and new. And as you train your mind to stay out of knowing, to simmer in a place of inquiry, you can learn how to experience a broader understanding and awareness. So suspend what you think you know. Allow yourself to have a different experience this time in Yoga Nidra. All right. So, please sit comfortably in your chair. Situate yourself so that you're centered. For the Yoga Nidra session, this short, quick one that we're going to have, I'd like to ask you to keep your mouth and eyes closed. We're going inward. If you feel comfortable, keep your palms up toward the ceiling. If that's not comfortable, that's fine. There's a tendency for the body and mind to stay open when the palms are up. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Send a mental message to all of your body parts to completely relax. Your thoughts are powerful. Ask your body to completely relax. Ask your body and mind to stay receptive. We'll be increasing our awareness as we go into Yoga Nidra. Please observe your breath. Don't change your breath. Just observe the breath. Notice the inhale and the exhale. Notice that when the body and the breath are calm, the mind also tends to be calm. Notice the state of your breath. If you'd like to try and calm your mind, focus on your breath and allow your breath to come through the nostrils easily and effortlessly. On the next inhale, please mentally repeat Om. On the next exhale, please mentally repeat Shanti. We'll enter a period of silence. Please continue repeating Om mentally on the inhale and Shanti on the exhale. If you find that your mind doesn't want to do this exercise because it thinks it should do something else, please ask it to just do it anyway. You can take care of whatever needs to be done after this session. You're simply training the mind. Om on the inhale and Shanti on the exhale. Please continue. Good. Watch the mind. Develop the witness consciousness by watching the mind. Watch the mind on the inhale saying Om. Watch the mind on the exhale saying Shanti. And then let go of the mind. Let your breath breathe in Om, and let your breath breathe out Shanti. Beautiful. Now please bring your awareness back to your entire body. Notice how your body feels right now. is there a connection for you with the state of your body, the state of your mind, and the state of your breath? At some point in your Yoga Nidra training, instead of claiming the body or mind or breath as yours, we would just simply say the body. But for now, in this introduction, we're aware that we think for, at the time being, that the body, breath, and mind are ours. So we go with that. When you're ready, please open your eyes and maintain this state for the rest of the evening. This calm, centered state that you can access at any time. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and come back, gently and slowly. That was a very quick Yoga Nidra session. So Yoga Nidra also has a more advanced line of teaching, and that is using a sankalpa. A sankalpa is an idea or a phrase with an energetic pattern that you can use to retrain yourself. So for instance, if you have trouble overeating, you can work with Yoga Nidra to intentionally replace a habitual thought with a more positive one. For instance, I only eat as much as I can eat. That would be an intentional sankalpa. And as we go into Yoga Nidra and access deeper states of consciousness, we can intentionally reprogram energetic patterns with a sankalpa. So Yoga Nidra is a synthesis of many yogic practices, all leading to increasing awareness and training the mind. In the beginning, many people fall asleep during Yoga Nidra, and that's okay. When you're asleep, that's a denser state of consciousness. When you're in Yoga Nidra, you've actually achieved a state of consciousness called Turiya. In Turiya, it is, as Sri Swami Satchidananda said, that you're aware and yet disengaged. In today's class, we talked about in order to disengage, you first have to be aware that you're in a habitual pattern of thought. So your awareness needs to expand first. And then you can have the capacity to pluck yourself out or disengage and develop the witness consciousness. So what I shared with my students today was the ability to look at thoughts as they arise and say, oh, there's a thought. There's another thought. I am not my thoughts. Oftentimes, our thoughts are going on in our head and we're unaware of them. So when we actually become aware of, maybe it's after we've become angry, or maybe we've become robotic, whatever it is, we first see that we're in that pattern. And then we can watch the thought process behind that tension that's developed. You're not your thoughts. When you realize that, it's easier to disengage from that energetic pull, that habitual patterning. It's okay to share this with you. I even, from time to time, talk to my thoughts and say, oh, I see you. I see what you're doing. Seriously, you're going to try that again? It may not work for you, but it works for me. It adds a playful component to something that I might be frustrated that I'm still hitting that same wall after all these years of practice. And instead of getting aggravated with myself or having negative programming build on the problem, I can say, really? You're going to do that again? So consider that. Find a way that works for you when you're learning to pull back from that energetic, habitual pattern. Playful, but somewhat neutral, actually very neutral. Someone else in class talked about some self-loathing that she was unaware of, that was constantly playing in the background of her mind. And she became aware of it this weekend. And it explained a lot of things to her, this negative programming. And now she has the opportunity to intentionally reprogram herself. So we're not trying to control the mind. We're not trying to get rid of thoughts. We're simply learning to manage our reactions, watching the thoughts, not pushing them away, not rejecting them, observing them. Oh, there's a thought, and there's another thought. Like clouds passing in the sky, I am not my thoughts. So you see, when you're in your day-to-day life, you might be able to apply that after you've had enough practice. You might be able to stay out of an argument, or you might be able to access higher states of consciousness because you're able to pull yourself back and observe. So, that's a little snippet of Yoga Nidra. I hope you practice Yoga Nidra. The ashram here is offering another Yoga Nidra program in October of 2015. I hope you'll come. And remember that with Yoga Nidra, your cumulative practice builds upon itself and builds the strength and the structure of the mind. So don't give up. Stay with it. Continually expand your capacity to hold one thought, to hold an energetic state. When you notice that the mind has drifted to the left or to the right, bring your mind back to either a mantra or the Yoga Nidra person's voice. Each time you do that, you strengthen your capacity to build the mind's structure. Thank you. Hari Om.